ओम श्री गणेशाय नमः। ओम श्री सरस्वत्यै नमः। ओम श्री गुरुभ्यो नमः। ओम समस्त जन कल्याणे निरतं करुणामयं नमामि चिन्मयं देवं सद्गुरुं ब्रह्मविद्वरं सद्गुरुं ब्रह्मविद्वरम्। ओम सदाशिवसमारंभां शंकराचार्यमध्यमाम् अस्मदाचार्यपर्यन्तां वन्दे गुरुपरम्परां शंकरं शंकराचार्यं केशवं बादरायणं सूत्रभाष्यकृतौ वन्दे भगवन्तौ पुनः पुनः श्रुतिस्मृतिपुराणानाम् आलयं करुणालयं नमामि भगवत्पादशङ्करं लोकशङ्करम्। नमः श्री शंकरानंद गुरुपादाम्बुजन्मने सविलास महामोह ग्राहग्रासैक कर्मणे। Yesterday we have studied about the two types of samanadikaranyam. One is aikya samanyadikaranyam and badha samanyadikaranyam. How we define jiva. So when we take jiva as a mixture of the Kutastha Chaitanya and Chidabhasa, that is called Aikya Samanadikaranyam. And that prakriya is used by some acharyas. And some other acharyas of Vedanta, they use the prakriya called Badha Samanyadikaranyam. Both we have seen clearly yesterday when they are to be used and what is the implication of it. Now, Vidyaranya want to further explain same thought. And what is Kutastha Chaitanya? How do we define Kutastha? So these are the things now are going to be taken up now. So we can start from 48th verse. Dehendriyadi yuktasya jiva bhasa pramasyaya adhishtana chidisaisha kutastatra vivakshita. Now says, what is Kutastha Chaitanya? Kutastha Chaitanya is a substratum, adhishtana. Of what? Adhishtana of Chidabhasa, along with the Sharira, body, Indriyas, sense organs, etc. So that substratum of Chidabhasa, sense organs, mind, etc., everything, take all that set. The substratum of all that is defined as Kutastha Chaitanya in Vedanta. So rest all, what are all superimposed, are subjected to change. This Kutastha is changeless. A dancer can dance on a dais or a stage only when the stage is stagnant, not moving. So we saw from the standpoint of ordinary people, they think that Jiva is Chidabhasa only. They are not able to imagine Jiva means the Adhishtana Chaitanyam, the Kutastha Chaitanyam also is included. So in a common language, I feel God is separated from me. So I'm totally separate entity from the God. And the God is separate entity from me. That is ignorance of the generally more ignorant people are there. So they all feel that God is separate from me. I mean, in the general language I'm talking. For them, we use Bhada Samanadikaranyam, Laukika Drushti. But once we understand Shastra, then we understand Jiva is there, but he is not independent of the substratum, Kutastha Chaitanya. Then what is Kutastha Chaitanya? So what is Jiva? One is superimposed, something is superimposed on the substratum. All the together set is called Jiva. So he says now, Dehadi Indriya Yuktasya Jiva Abhasa Brahmasya ya Adhishtana Chitihi Sa Esha Kutastha Atra Vivakshita. So the Deha, Indriya, sense organs, Jiva Abhasa, that is Chidabhasa, all these are all called Laukika Vyavaharika. They are all transactional. We transact with them. Through them with the world outside. Sense organs are there, mind is there, intellect is there. So this entire is called Jiva Abhasa. Chidabhasa is a Vyavaharika Satya. And this Vyavahara can take place only when it is supported by Kutastha Chaitanya. It's changeless because all of them have drawn their satta, existence from Kutastha only. Just as the pot is existent, Nama Rupa of the pot is there, the pot shape and the name. Its existence, name and shape existence is depending on, it is not independent. You cannot remove pot from the mud. Like Gurudev used to say, we cannot separate the gold from the ornament from the gold. If you try to separate ornament apart from the gold, ornament doesn't exist. So, if you remove Kutastha Chaitanya, nothing can exist. So, this is what Kutastha is defined. Adhishtana Chitihi. That Adhishtana consciousness, the substratum consciousness, is called Kutastha Atra Vivakshita. That is what is meant in Vedantic texts. Okay. Now, continuing this thought, Jagat Brahmasya Sarvasya Yadadhisthana Miritam Trayanteshu Tadatrasyat Brahma Shabda Vivakshitam. Now, so in the last sloka, 48th sloka, just we have completed, we saw what is the meaning of Kutastha Chaitanya there. What is the meaning of Kutastha Chaitanya? We saw that it is a substratum of everything that which is superimposed on it. Mind, intellect, sense organs, Chidabhasa, everything is samsara. Now in this sloka, 49th verse, Vijayaranyam is defining Vivakshita, what is meant by Brahma Shabda. What do you mean by Brahma Shabda? That is what is said now. So, Jagat Brahmasya Sarvasya. So, entire Jagat is a Brahma, illusion of the world. It is all illusory world. The world is an illusion. It is only an appearance. It is called Pratiti Kala. Pratiti Kala meaning this world is existing only at the time of our perception. Very, very great, deep meditations it will take us if we really understand these powerful sentences and we revel in them. So the pratiti kala, then when the jagat is existing only because when I am seeing it. So this is Brahma. Because I am seeing it, it appears to be there. So when we inquire into the nature of the world, then we come to know that there is no jagat. There exists nothing. Manasantu kim margane krute naiva manasam marga arjavat. When we inquire what is the nature of the mind, that inquiry takes us to where we discover there is nothing called mind. So this Jagat Brahmasya Sarvasya, the total world is actually illusion. The illusion of the total world is there and its substratum on which this illusion is played upon. Like a movie is played upon the screen. When the screen is not there, movie cannot be played. There must be something supporting screen on which the film can be projected. If there is nothing there to project, how can the film be projected? Isn't it? So therefore, there must be some adhishtanam, substratum should be there. So Jagat adhishtanam, the substratum for the entire Jagat. Entire Jagat means what? As per science, you can say infinite number of universes are there. They say the universes also multiple parallel universes, multiple universes are there. Even to go to next neighboring galaxy, it will take some light years, so many thousands of light years. Here, we cannot even imagine to travel from one end or where we are in the universe to the end of the universe also to travel. We just can't imagine the distance in terms of light years. And then still vast picture is what scientists say that the Ananta Koti Brahmanda Nayaka we say. When each Brahmanda is considered as universe, there are multiple universes, infinite may be there. They're all hanging in space only. See, Akash itself is a huge Panchamahabhutas. So in Sabka Adhishtan, everything is Jagat only. Jagat Adhishtanam, this itself is a huge, and the substratum of that all is infinite Brahman. Infinite even we cannot conceive. If we travel from North India to South India, we feel, oh, we have traveled a lot. Even a globe also is a speck. What I'm asking, the meaning of the word Jagat is so inconceivable for us. Even that to Sthula Jagat. What about Sukshma Jagat, other lokas? We can't even imagine. For everything, Adhisthana is what? So that substratum, because of which everything can exist, that substratum is called as Brahma. Where it is said, Traya Anteshu. Traya Anteshu means what? Traya means Veda. One is Karma Kanda, Jnana Kanda, Upasana Kanda, three Kandas are there. Or Trayi Vedas. Rug, Yajus, Sama Vedas. Atharvana Veda is not used for Karma Kanda, therefore it is not counted there for Karma Kanda. Generally we say Trayi. Nistraygunyo Bhavarjuna. Traigunya Vishaya Vedaha. Nistraygunyo Bhavarjuna. So here, Trayanteshu. In the Trayanteshu, in the Vedanta. Trayi Veda. Vedanta, Vedanta. Trayanteshu, tadatra syat Brahma Shabda Vivakshitam. So this entire the Jagat Adhishtanam, the substratum is called as Brahma Vastu. So Sarvam Brahma, when we say Sarvam is referring to the world. World is Brahman. We saw yesterday what do you mean by the world is Brahman. There also, we use Bada Samanadikaranyam. I am not equating the world is Brahman. That means world is not existing. Brahman alone is there. We have misunderstood the world as though it is reality because it is seen. But that is the power of Maya. Okay. So in Trayanteshu, in all the end of the in Vedanta, at the end of all the three Vedas, it is said that entire Jagat Adhishtanam is Brahma. Now see, what is the Jiva Adhishtanam? What is the substratum for the individual ego, the entity called Jiva? That entity, Jiva, and its substratum is called as Kutastha Chaitanya. And what is the substratum of the entire Jagat, the creation, the universe, the entire world? On which entire world is superimposed? That is Brahma. So these are the words we are using. So Kutastha and Brahma is one only, one and the same. So therefore the teacher says here, Jagat Brahmasya Sarvasya Yad Adhishtanamidiritam Trayanteshu Tatra Syat Brahma Tatra Syat Brahma Shabda Vivakshitam. Earlier it was described what is the meaning of Kutastha. Now it is said what is the meaning of Brahma. Brahma is substratum of the entire Jagat. Now, he says in 50th verse, Etasmin eva chaitanye jagadaropyate yada tada tadeka deshasya jiva bhasasya ka katha. See, when the whole world entire world of Maya, the entire Jagat itself is recognized as superimposition on this consciousness. Totality, entire Jagat is considered as superimposition on the totality. Then what to talk about Jiva, Jiva Bhava? Is it not superimposition on the same entity, same substratum? That's what is asking. बड़े बड़े हिरण्यगर्भ है, विराट, समस्त स्थूल शरीर अभिमानी विराट is there, समस्त सूक्ष्म शरीर अभिमानी हिरण्यगर्भ is there, समस्त कारण शरीर अभिमानी, the one who is identified with the total causal body is called Ishvara. So Ishvara, Hiranyagarbha and Virat, Stula, Sukshma, Karana, grosser, subtle and the causal, at all the three levels. Everything is considered as superimposition on Brahman. Should we talk separately that Jiva also is superimposed on Brahman? He is included in it, no? That's what ka katha. Then what to Jiva Bhasasya ka katha, meaning then what to talk about the Jiva's experience, Vishwa, Taijasa, Prajna. Because we also go through three stages, no? Waking plane, I am called as Vishwa. Dream state, I am called as Taijasa. In deep sleep state, I am called as Prajna. Then what to talk about this? Are they not superimposed on same Brahma? I mean, same Brahma Vastu? Of course they are. So what should we talk? Anything? Is there any separate speciality in the Jiva? Nothing. He is also same like when Jagat itself is superimposed on Brahman. Then what to talk about? Jiva Bhava. So when Mahavakya comes into picture, what does Mahavakya do? Mahavakya removes Ishvara also. As long as entity called Jiva is there, so long there is Ishvara. Jivatva ended. There is no Ishvara, there is only Adhisthana Brahma everywhere. There is only one eternal consciousness everywhere. So in that eternal consciousness, Jagadeva Aropyate. So Hiranyagarbha, Virat and Ishvara, all the three entities are superimposed. So in Vedanta, even Ishvara is negated. Ishvara is what? Maya Upadi Visishta Chaitanyam. Conditioned consciousness, conditioned by Maya, Sattva Maya. We can say so many things are there in Shastras. He is keeping that Maya under his control. So he is also a macro Chidabhasa. It's called macro Chidabhasa. Micro Chidabhasa is small reflection of that in Parichinna Sharira, limited one. So, what to talk about when Sarvagnya Ishvara we say, Sarvashaktiman, that Ishvara also is superimposed on same infinite Nirguna Brahma. And what to talk about the Jiva, he says. Jiva is Vishwatejasa Prajna. Is he not superimposed? He is also superimposed. This what means what? What is it meaning? That this is a fictitious entity. Jiva is a fictitious entity. Jivatva, Jiva is all actually an unreal, apparent. Is existing as long as the Jiva doesn't discover who he is really. When Jiva discovered that Aham, meaning of Aham as not as Chidabhasa, but when the meaning of Aham as Brahma Vastu or Kutastha Chaitanya, when he realizes, then it is called the realization. No more he identifies with the Chidabhasa or the ego. So, when the macro three, that is huge, Virat, Hiranyagarbha, and Ishvara, these are three entities. And they are superimpositions on Brahman. What to talk about you and I, the Jiva, who is going through experience Vishwa, waking plane, dream plane, Taijasa. In deep sleep state is called as Prajna. Then what to talk about these people? Human being is also superimposed. So when we are negating the totality, Ishvara, Prajna, Ishvara, Hiranyagarbha and Virat, उनको ही हम हटा देते हैं इस वेदांत ब्रह्म ज्ञान के द्वारा. अब जीव की बात क्या कहें? जीव भी जाएगा. जीव भी शाश्वत नहीं. जीवत्व शाश्वत, ब्रह्म ही शाश्वत. I am a Jiva is wrong. That is what is being told here. So now, 51st verse. Jagat tadekadeshakya samaropyasya bhedataha tattvam padarthau binnaustaha vastutastve. Now, Jagat, one is Jagat is there, macro, the entire creation, the world. Ekade Jagat Ishvara is Sarvavyapi, no? So what about Jiva? Ekadeshakhya. Jiva is occupying a limited space. Ishvara is infinite, limitless. Jiva is limited. So he is located in a place. Jiva is located. He has an address. But not for Ishvara. He is everywhere. So Jagat tad ekadeshakya samaropyasya. Samaropyasya with reference to these conditionings only. Because when we study this, naturally one question comes up. What is the question here? Now see. There are two, Aham Brahmasmi is there. Mahavakya. In Aham Brahmasmi, what is Aham? Aham means what? Adhisthana Chaitanya, substratum. Substratum of what? Chidabhasa. So Chidabhasa substratum is called as what? Aham in Aham Brahmasmi. Chidabhasa cannot claim, no, Aham Brahmasmi. Chidabhasa cannot say Aham Brahmasmi. Chidabhasa is not Brahma. Chidabhasa is only reflection. So Aham Brahmasmi में Aham शब्द किसको सूचित कर दिया है? शब्द ब्रह्म वस्तु, कूटस्थ चेतन. So Aham is the adhisthana of micro Chidabhasa, Chidabhasa of the Jiva. And what do you call Brahma? Brahma is, we have seen already, adhisthana, substratum of the total Jagat, Visa. Okay. We are defined like that. What is Aham? Substratum of Chidabhasa. What is Brahma? Substratum of old Jagat. Now again you say Aham Brahmasmi. This Aham and that Brahma is identity, is there one and the same. So when one side Aham is Adhisthana Chaitanya, Brahma also Adhisthana Chaitanya, this Adhisthana is Eka Adhisthana only, no? Substratum of Jiva Chidabhasa, substratum of Ishvara, Hiranyagarbha, and also Virat is same, no? There are no two substratums. So when there are no two substratums, when substratum is one, on which both macro is superimposed and micro also is superimposed. Within the macro only, micro is there. So if everything is superimposed, then why use two words, different words, Aham and Brahma, or Kutastha and Brahma Chaitanya? Why two words you are using? When both are identity, same one, only one Vastu is there. Why to use both? So in Tattvamasi Mahavakya, what is Tatta? Tat is Adhisthana. Adhisthana of substratum. Of what? Ishvara. Macro Chidabhasa. Ishvara also reflection, no? Maya Upadhi, Brahma reflected. Ishvara is. That Ishvara is controlling the Maya, keeping the Maya under his control. So Tat means Adhisthana. What is Tvam? Adhisthana only. Then why two words to use Tat and Tvam? Real Tvam is Adhisthana referring to implied meaning. Real Tat implied meaning is same Adhisthana, same Chaitanya on which Tat is superimposed. So both are superimposed on same Adhisthana. Then why to use? Real meaning of Tat is and Tvam is Visa Chaitanya only. Then why to use two different words? So like Aham Brahmasmi and also Tattvamasi. Why use two words, Aham and Brahma? Aham and Brahma are one and the same. So Vidyaranya says, even though consciousness is one and the same, but Jagat Ekadeshakya Samaropyasya Bhedatah. Bhedatah Tvam Padartho Bhinnau. Tvam Tat Tvam Padartho Bhinnau Staha. Vastutaha Ekata Achitehe. Germany says it is not the two words are used stating that there are two different substratums or consciousnesses to know. Because one is the substratum of micro, so with respect to the adhyasta, with respect to superimposition, एक तो छोटा है ना, छोटा चिदाभास, छोटा चिदाभास की दृष्टि से जब हम देखते हैं अधिष्ठान को, सो छोटे जो चिदाभास है उस चिदाभास की दृष्टि से अधिष्ठान को कूटस्थ चैतन्य कहा गया या अहम कहा गया. किसकी दृष्टि से? अधिष्ठान की दृष्टि से नहीं, अध्यस्त की दृष्टि से. From the standpoint of the superimposition, I call it that which is supporting with respect to that Chidabhasa. As a support of Chidabhasa, the Chaitanya is called as Aham. As a support of total Jagat, the same Chaitanya is called as Brahma. So with respect to what is superimposed, these two names are derived, not per se from the standpoint of consciousness. That is what? Jagat tad ekadeshakya samaropyasya bhedatah tat tvam padartho bhinnaustaha vastutaha tu ekata chitehe. Consciousness is but one and the same. That means what? Even the possibility of understanding it in the language of duality is always discarded by the masters. When you talk of duality, masters cut it off. Like one lady went from Lucknow, I read in the Ramana Maharshi books. She went all the way from Lucknow in those days, lamba safar. She thought that Bhagavan will welcome her and show sympathy. Sympathy and compassion is always there. She thought that she will be attended to, especially because she came from a long journey from Lucknow. Where is Lucknow in the UP, and then where is Tiruvannamalai in South India? So she went there. So she said, Ramana Maharshi, so I came from Lucknow. When she said, I came from Lucknow, so Bhagavan always takes the meaning of I as Adhisthana Brahma only. We may think the meaning of I is ego, Jiva, Chidabhasa, individual, samsari, etc. For Bhagavan Ramana Maharshi, the meaning of I means only one thing, that is infinite, pure, eternal, all-pervading consciousness. He will not come down from that understanding. He is rooted there. Wonderful, isn't it? So when this lady said, I came from Lucknow, I came from Lucknow, no, I can come anywhere. This I, Bhagavan ki drishti se I means what? Infinite consciousness, self. So Bhagavan replied, self doesn't move. Self doesn't move. She must have got frustrated, but I came a journey, I traveled, I exhausted. So what is traveled? Chidabhasa traveled. So for Ramana Maharshi, I means only self only, not even Chidabhasa. So same space, we use different names. Huh? Suppose, some master gave a beautiful example. He gave very beautiful example. Shastras only give, masters only have given this example. Suppose when you're staying in Noida, then I ask, is it Noida? You say, yes, of course it is Noida. Then I ask you another question. Is it Uttar Pradesh? Of course it is Uttar Pradesh. Is it India? Of course it is India. Now tell me, is it Noida, Uttar Pradesh or India? Very beautiful example the teacher gave. All the three are correct. When you are conditioning the entire space here with respect to only the Noida, Noida Avachanna Chaitanyam. And that, you come with respect to that Chaitanya space, you call it as a Noida. But that same area is actually in Uttar Pradesh only. Same is India only. But we give three different names. Similarly, Chaitanyam is one. But when from standpoint of Adhyastha, what is superimposed? Jiva Siddhabhasa is superimposed. It is called Aham or Tvam in Tattvamasi Mahavakya. That's what the teacher says. So from that point of view, these two words are used, not from the standpoint of consciousness. In consciousness, there is no Tat and Tvam. In consciousness, there is no Aham and Chidabhasa. I mean, Aham and Kutastha Brahma, all these things are not there. Aham and Brahma, no. Aham is equal to Brahma. They are not two, we are not equating. Identity is there between. That is what. Like identity Soyam Devadatta. He is that Devadatta. Okay. So we'll move on to next verse. 52nd. Kartrutvadin buddhi dharman spurtyakhyam chatma rupatam dadad vibhati puratah avasoto brahmo bhavet. Vijayanya is concluding the present discussion on Mahavakya Vichara. He brought Samanadikaranyam, Aikya Samanadikaranyam, Bhada Samanadikaranyam. What is the meaning of Tat and Tvam? What is the meaning of Aham and Brahma? Why these two words are used differently when Chaitanya is one? All that we have been seeing. Why Chidabhasa to be considered as Mithya? Why Chidabhasa has to be considered as Mithya? Mithya means not real. It is apparent. Why it is to be considered like that? This is what he says. Why he says Chidabhasa is actually in the meaning of this sloka when you read, it is Anirvachaniya because it has not got its own satta. That which has not got its own satta, existence, independent existence, but appears to be existing, then what do you call that? You cannot talk, you cannot say that it is existing, you cannot say that it doesn't exist also. That is Maya. That is called Anirvachaniyam. Why it is Anirvachaniyam? He says, Kartrutva Adin, Kartrutva, Adi means Kartrutva, Bhoktrutva, all qualities. Sense of doership, sense of enjoyership. All those things are accepted by Chidabhasa. Chidabhasa wedded to all these qualities. Kartrutva bhava, bhoktrutva bhava, indriyas, various experiences, it is identified. Chidabhasa. One side, this way by identifying with these changing entities, it is a samsari. On other side, it is also reflecting the Kutastha Chaitanya, so it is appearing as a consciousness. It is not Jada, it is not Jada, it is Chaitanya. Because it is drawing that Chaitanya from the Adhishtanam, so it is appearing as active, it is consciousness is there. Chidabhasa. That's what it says. One side this, so one side that. So either Chidabhasa is existence is drawn from the Satta, Kutastha Chaitanya, and identifying with the entire matter vehicles, he calls himself as samsari. It cannot have independent existence, it cannot have without the medium of reflection, without the original. See now, without Kutastha Chaitanya, original, without the Bimba, original, without the mirror, can there be Pratibimba? Can there be image, mirror image? Without these two, it cannot. Think. So there cannot be any reflected image in the mirror without mirror and original. Only mirror is there, you are not in front of mirror, your image cannot be formed. You are there, mirror is not there, image cannot be formed. At the same time, that image, we cannot say it belongs to the original Bimba or it belongs to the, because it is anirvachaniya. When it moves, it doesn't exist. So this Pratibimbam, reflected image or mirror image, has not got any independent existence of its own. Therefore, it has not got its own nature. Dadat vibhati purataha abhasato brahmo bhavet. Therefore, Chidabhasa is illusion because it has not got its own inherent nature of its own. It is shining and it is showing light. It is the quality of Kutastha Chaitanya. It is suffering because of change and all the quality of the Prakriti. Mana Buddhi Sharira Ahankara, all those things. Mana Buddhi Sharira. So something is borrowed from Kutastha Chaitanya, the original. Something is borrowed from the gunas of the world, is superimposed on itself. And this confusion is called, this entity is called as Chidabhasa. Beautiful. So when I contemplate on this, I deny this. I means when I say I'm referring to Chidabhasa, I deny myself. And when I identify, when I invoke, when I become aware of Kutastha Chaitanya as pure consciousness without which reflection is not possible, when keeping that a knowledge in view, when I use I, it is referring to that pure consciousness, Aham Brahmasmi. So what is Jiva is doing? Samsara mein pad gaya. What is samsara? Change, crushed by change. Because no, life is changing, body is changing, mind is changing, intellect is changing, everything is changing, no? So we are actually in some body is changing, so samsara only, we are in samsara. So what is samsara? Because of ignorance. Because of ignorance, there is samsara. So what is it now? 53rd verse, so beautiful it is. Ka buddhi koyama bhasaha ko vatratma jagat katham ityanir nayato mohaha soyam samsara ishyate. Vijayana says, samsara is because we are not understanding four factors. Not understanding the following four is the cause of samsara. What are the four? First one is ka buddhi. बुद्धि क्या है? निश्चयात्मिका बुद्धि. Vivek Shakti is there in buddhi. So ka buddhi, number one. Ko ayam abhasaha. What is buddha? In subtle body only the reflection took place. Buddhi stands for mind and buddhi, both intellect, subtle body. So what is the nature of abhasa? Abhasa looks like Kutastha only because Kutastha can illumine, Abhasa can illumine. Because Kutastha only entered, no, as Chidabhasa. So what is this Abhasa? What is the nature of it? You should study that. It has its own benefits. Clarity will come. Kova atra atma. What is this self called? Atman. Jagat katham. And what is this world? Is that how it has come? ये कहां से आया? See, when you think about it, roll back into when you become step aside from creation and think about creation. No doubt you are in creation, but think about creation. Constantly changing. And befooling us as though it is really existing. So because of non-understanding of these four factors, there is samsara. If you start understanding these by the grace of the masters, by our Guru Krupa, by Shastra Chintanam, Manana, Nididhyasanam, etc., if you understand this, then we will understand the nature of samsara. So these four understanding ke liye hi we need Guru, we need Shastra, we have to work hard to understand the nature of all this. Because the moment Ahankara is rising, Chidabhasa, the world is rising. So Chidabhasa उठ गया, Jagat उठ जाता है. Chidabhasa नहीं है, Jagat विलीन हो गया. So we should understand what is Chidabhasa, what is the Jagat, what is Atma, what is Anatma. So here we'll stop here for today. We can take up next class. That is tomorrow. Okay. We'll start from 54th verse. So 53rd we have completed. Om Purnamadaha Purnamidam Purnat Purnamudachyate Purnasya Purnamadaya Purnameva Vasishyate. Om Shanti Shanti Shanti. Harihi Om Sri Gurubhyo Namaha. Harihi Om Sadgurunath Maharaj Ki Jai. Thank you all. Hari Om.